Alright guys, so there have been documents released pertaining to law enforcement's investigation into Hoodie Guy, Food Truck Jack at the beginning of the 1122 King Road Homicides investigation. And I want to talk about them because I feel like a lot of people are misinterpreting these documents, and I think that they're forgetting the fact that in order for someone to not be arrested, in order for someone to have been cleared, which he was at the beginning of this investigation after he was looked into, authorities need to prove that any of the suspicious activity or findings related to that individual are not related to the unalivings or the crimes that took place. And that is what happened here with Food Truck Jack. Hoodie Guy. Take a listen.
So the document reads, on 11/23/2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for the Queen Road residence of Hoodie Guy, Food Truck Jack. The warrant was based off the following information. Officer House and I responded to the home at approximately 10 o'clock on 11/15/2022. This would have been 2 days after the unalivings. We walked on the common walkway in front of the door to the apartment and observed the exterior of the door. The area around the door had numerous spots of a dried fluid which appeared to be rust drops from a metal roof above the apartment's door. These drops were mainly on the wall next to the door frame, not on the frame itself. I observed what appeared to be a different fluid spot on the door approximately 8 inches up from the bottom of the door under the doorknob. I also noticed the deadbolt plating was clean, polished silver, and had no dirt on it. I walked away from the door in order to conduct an interview on a possible witness. Officer House and several members of the ISP forensics unit, to include Detective Hugh Powell, walked back to this Queen Road residence. I met back up with Officer House and Detective Powell a short time later, and they told me they believed the spot of dried fluid on the door displayed similar characteristics to that of dried blood. Namely, Detective Powell stated the spot displayed a cracking texture common when blood dries on a surface. The spot also displayed a similar drop pattern to the blood spots found on the banister wall and the wall on the stairwell to the ground floor, which I observed inside 1122 King Road. Officer House also told me he looked at several other doorknobs and deadbolt plates on doors in the same apartment complex, all of which had a fine layer of dust on them. Officer House also confirmed Hoodie Guy, Food Truck Jack's door, did not have the same layer of dust as though it had been cleaned off. I returned to MPD, Moscow Police Department, and was notified by Detective Vargas, who was reviewing security camera footage provided by the owners of Linda Lane, this residence there, of possible footage of someone walking by the cameras at 3:50 on 11/13/2022, so just right before the unalivings took place. I watched the film with Detective Vargas. The cameras show the parking lot of this address, which is situated directly south of Queen Road, which is where Hoodie Guy lived. The frame captures a portion of the Queen Road parking lot in front of, but does not capture the apartments themselves. This area of Queen Road is also much darker than Linda Lane. The video is infrared and is thusly displayed in black and white. At approximately 3:50 on 11/13/2022, per the timestamp on the video, a figure clad in dark clothing can be seen walking from the building which houses Queen Road. The figure walks to the west out of the parking lot and leaves the frame of the video as the figure enters the sidewalk area between the two other apartment buildings at this address on Queen Road. The terminus of this sidewalk is immediately east of 1122 King Road. The figure is not captured by the cameras any further. Based off the information above, Moscow Police Department and ISP officers served a search warrant on the exterior of the front door to this address on Queen Road. Access to the residence per this search warrant was granted only if a presumptive positive test for blood was found on the exterior door. Nothing was found during this search and the warrant was returned. So there was not blood on the exterior door. It was rust. On 11/23, about 10 days later, a Moscow Police Department officer was contacted by a maintenance worker who manages the Queen Road apartment complex. They told officers that there was a routine maintenance order conducted on the Queen Road apartment and they discovered something of note. He basically stated that he and another maintenance worker entered the apartment on November 22nd, 2022 in order to check on a water quality complaint made by the tenant. Both men checked the kitchen and did not notice any issues. He said he entered the only bathroom in the residence and began to inspect the drain when the other maintenance worker advised there appeared to be blood on the shower curtain. He said that he looked and discovered what appeared to be two separate smudge marks on the shower curtain which appeared to be dried blood. He described the smudges as 1 inch by 1 inch, and he said that he then noticed another smudge of what appeared to be dried blood on the toilet flusher handle. He added that there appeared to be spatter of dried blood near the light switch on the interior wall of the bathroom. He said that the marks appeared to be reddish brown in color and added, "I've seen dried blood before and the marks appear to be similar to that." He added the only thing he did in the restroom was flush the toilet in order to check the water quality. He said the toilet appeared clean but became clogged when he flushed it. A search warrant was issued with ISP investigators and they found more blood spatter spots on the wall on the entryway into the living room. Samples of each were collected, which were 94 in total, and the detective took photos of the residence. All units ended up being cleared without further incident. The search warrant was returned on December 4th, 2022.
Remember, this kid was a hunter. At the very beginning of this case, we found images of him hunting, of him with blood from animals and stuff. This is something that is typical with people who hunt. If authorities found blood in his apartment and they were able to see that that blood belonged to any of the victims or himself, if it was human blood, authorities would have investigated him more. Instead of putting out this right here, that indicates that he was cleared not once but several times. So yeah, I would just encourage everyone to remember who pleaded guilty to these crimes, who never said at the beginning of this investigation when he was arrested, was anyone else arrested? Remember, that was a lie. That was not something that was said by Kohberger. He was arrested. He acted like he had no idea why he was arrested. We've gone through it all. Kohberger was unsuccessful at trying to introduce alternate perpetrator theory at his trial because there was no evidence to support it. If this case has taught us anything, it should be that we should all be going off of official court documents, trusting law enforcement who conducted a very thorough investigation in order to find the one and only perpetrator here, Bryan Kohberger.